Hi everyone. In our last meeting, we looked at chapter 16 of the Lotus Sutra, Lifespan of the Tathagata, and we discussed passages from the text, its contemporary implications, and an example of how they can help us to build a relationship with others in our everyday life. Given that, I will be reviewing three things in this clip. Number one crucial difference between monotheistic conception of God and non-theistic idea of the eternal life of the Buddha. Number two, who are bodhisattvas and where they are. Number three, everyday example based on these interpretations. Okay, number one, Buddha's life is, the difference between the monotheistic conception and the eternal life of Buddha. Okay, Buddha's life, to some of you, sounds like similar to the idea of the monotheistic idea of God in other traditions. One important difference between them is that while God is creator, Buddha is never a creator. So creator creates fixed hierarchy between creator and creatures, right? And this worldview, creator is never created and no creatures can become creator, yes? Creator, in other words, can never be produced. This is their system and how it works. In contrast, in Buddhism, as represented in the Lotus Sutra, eternal life of the Buddha is not God, it is not creator. This picture holds the absence of such powerful creator. The absence of creator also leads to the absence of the fixed hierarchy between creator and creatures. Now they're all equal. All beings are equal. In Buddhist terms, there's no fixed hierarchy between the Buddha and sentient beings. Because of the absence of this fixed hierarchy structure, by definition, Buddha can be produced. Moreover, it is precisely an embodiment of the Buddha's compassionate presence to produce other Buddhas. So based on this, the Lotus Sutra claims that unbeknownst to them, everyone is already always walking on the bodhisattva way and hence will be a Buddha. So this point leads to the next point, the second point. Who are then bodhisattvas and where they are? So claim of the Lotus Sutra is to say, unbeknownst to them, everyone is already always walking in the bodhisattva way and hence all will be a Buddha. People do not know that they are walking their bodhisattva ways then. It rather seems that we are most of the time walking on non-bodhisattva ways, like myself, like sometimes I become angry, I'm mean to others, and hurt others in the end, and regret, and so on. How is it possible that we are walking on the bodhisattva way? The answer is that if someone sees you practicing a bodhisattva way, then you are a bodhisattva for that seer. Let's talk about this kind of structure. So the Buddha's practice is to be free from all one-sided views and to see things unlimitedly different ways. Buddha's practice, we are encouraged to emulate in our everyday life is to see everyone as bodhisattva for you. It can be your family member, relatives, friends, colleagues, politicians, or strangers. The logic of finding a bodhisattva is that once you see someone as a bodhisattva, then that person is the bodhisattva for you. In that moment, you, together with that person, are practicing the bodhisattva way. What gets interesting in this practice is when we are challenged by seeing your initial enemies as ultimate bodhisattvas. This leads to the final point of this clip. Here's a story. Story of seeing initial enemies as ultimate bodhisattvas. And I am curious to know how that can possibly resonate with your own story, or that might be some similarities or possibility for application to your own life of these ideas. Okay, here's my story. So I play indoor soccer in a Korean team every week, and there are two guys who are mean and aggressive to me during the game. So they sometimes attack with their elbows and kick my knees and lower legs and so on. I talk to them, but these behaviors remain the same. So these are, in a sense, sort of my enemies, right? And I wish many times that the decision-making persons in our team to expel these guys, but that never happened. And I want to continue playing soccer because otherwise I will have no motivation to do exercise a good weekly cycle. And then that would be just focusing on studying and meeting no one while I live alone. That is not going to be healthy mentally and physically. For productive and healthy life as a PhD student, I was in a situation in which I needed to cope with these guys. Then to my surprise, I thought, receiving all these aggressive pressing and physical contacts from them on the field are perhaps honorable things. If I was seen as useless on the field, probably they wouldn't care about me when I get the ball or dribbling and passing and so on. In other words, they are seeing me as a threat for their team and seeing how well I play soccer. So they see me as a good player, in other words. Then with that thought, I felt I was able to see myself both being miserable in that situation and being praised by these bad guys. That praising view never occurred to me in the beginning. So this is already a Buddhist shift of the perspective or expansion of the mind. Keeps happening already. So this awareness led me to another perspective. I reflected the initial purpose of joining this soccer team. When I was studying, it's very intensive and very stressful, and I felt the need of putting the time for doing exercise, at least in my weekly schedule. Because my body was feeling heavy and that affected my performance of my academic work, which is my first priority at the moment, I really need to do some exercise. And I thought the ideal lifestyle will be that I play soccer once a week and do workout at home on an everyday basis. But when I was reflecting this way, I realized that I somehow got really lazy and have not been doing workout at home. But now, given these physical tough guys, bad guys, I was put into the corner and really need to become stronger by restarting my daily workout at home so that I can compete against them, which improves my performance in both soccer and academic work, in theory. And it happened. Now, these bad guys, under the guise of aggressive men, appear to me so that I recall the initial goal I set and ultimately achieve my purpose. By being aggressive, surprisingly, they are in fact supporting my project in a way. That's their compassionate response to what I am in the current situation, and then I felt gratitude toward them. So once I read the last portion of the paragraph, once I realized that or interpreted, probably, the situation that way, the rhythm of my daily schedule started to get better and enjoy the game without complaint. My world in that sense was transformed. And these guys are not just aggressive guys, but being aggressive as a way of embodying their compassionate bodhisattva response to me. The change of my world in this model comes from not the change of these guys, but the change of my views about these guys. That was achieved by way of allowing other views to see the same situation. So the change of the world is not changing these guys, but discovering more about these guys and the world that I'm facing, and we enter the same world. Once that happens, the same world is now seen differently and hence is felt to be a different world. So Buddha sees everyone as equal to him. In this sense, Buddhahood and the suffering or nirvana is must be discoverable in each moment of our everyday life if we try, according to the Buddha's wisdom. In the next Lotus Sutra lab, December, I'll send you the dates. In December, we will continue discussing the chapter 16. If you have any questions or comments about this video, please feel free to leave them below. I look forward to seeing many of you over there in December.